let's talk about communication, right? When I first joined the military, I took several courses on communication. And through those courses, the first thing you learn in communication that you have the sender, the receiver, and the message, right? The sender, me, I'm the sender, sends a message, right? The message, which is what I'm telling you right now, goes through it has to be sent, right? Through whatever means, through telephone, face-to-face, right here, me talking to you as I'm talking to you. And then there's the receiver. The receiver is you, the viewer of the message that I'm sending, right? And I'm saying all this for a reason. And you'll get it if you just continue to watch and listen. So besides learning, the sender, receiver, and the message, those are the basics of communication. I've learned a lot of things to a large extent. And one thing that I try to explain to people is that I've been studying since I was a little kid. I've studied sociology, psychology, law, government, business tech, and several other different subjects since I was 12 years old. That's important. The reason why that's important is because when I see things and I understand things, it's like that. All because it's not like when you go to college and you learn this stuff, and while you're in college you do this, you do that, so you learn by the numbers. Even in the military, in the military you learn by the numbers. They teach you step 1, step 2, step 3. When you take dance, you learn step 1, step 2, step 3, right? This is how you learn. And then a lot of people, when you learn things from high school to college, you're just learning what somebody else has done, right? By the time you get to college, you're learning what somebody else has done, and you're learning how to redo what they've done, as far as like being a doctor and stuff like that. And they're teaching you what they've done. Doesn't mean that you know everything about the field, right? However, with me, because I was taught so young, 12 years old, I was taught everything that you learn in high school and middle school, right? I was taught everything that you learn in college in high school. So by the time I got to the military, my education level was already at a college level, which means I've graduated high school with the knowledge of a person with a master's degree. So that's at 19 years old. You don't have to believe me. I really don't care if you do, if you don't. But the reason why that's important is because when I joined the military knew this, right? Pay attention to what I'm telling you. So what I learned in the military was communication tactics. I've learned more of the law through the military, and I learned more of business, real estate, and all that through the military. Now, the way that I learned the law when it comes to real estate and probates and all that stuff, before we go overseas, we have to take courses in a lot of different things. And the different things that we take courses in one of them was estate planning. Why? Is because we had to plan our own estates. We had to write wills. You have to get a power of attorneys. You have to learn what power of attorneys are, specific power of attorneys, general power of attorneys, etc., etc. right? We have to learn all that stuff. We have to learn all the legal jargon in order for us to even be, for us to go overseas. At least that was the unit that I was with. For the commander to sign off on you going overseas, you had to learn these things, right? You had to know how to do these things. Now, I'm saying that to tell you a story. And the story that I'm going to tell you, I'm telling you in two ways. And this is a part of communication. You have covert, which is when I talk about covert, it's like secret type stuff that nobody should hear, only certain people should hear. And that's when you get into the dog whistles and stuff like that. That's a covert. Then there's overt. Overt is basically just me telling you what it is, right? So I'm going to tell you covertly, then I'm going to tell you overtly, so that you get the message that I'm sending to you, okay? So, when I was in the military, when I was in the Army, right, back in, let me see, how do I explain this? Back in 2006, right, 2005, 2006, this was my second tour overseas. We were in one of the most dangerous places in Iraq. When I say the most dangerous place in Iraq, we are in Diyala province, Far Wars. And we were trained in a lot of different things. We were trained in detention, running detention facilities, how to detain a person. We was trained in a lot. We was trained for a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? So I was trained for a lot of things in the military. All right. One of the things that we used to do guard. We used to pull guard. And at the time, the biggest thing that was going on was IEDs, improvised explosive devices, right? And what we was trained to do, we was trained to monitor people who planted these devices. We wasn't trained to shoot them. We was trained to monitor them. All right? You understanding so far? So what we was trained to do, if we saw a guy dig a hole, we report it in. This guy, we give a description, this guy digging a hole. Then another guy would come, lay wire. We see the person laying wire. This person is laying wire. Then we see another person bringing in, the explosive. This person is bringing in the explosive. Then you have this person is bringing in the phone. Now, we're not going in and trying to kill these people, even though they're setting up a device to kill us. But we're just monitoring what they are doing. Are you understanding? We are monitoring what they are doing. This was in 2006 that I learned this. Now, the reason why we don't react is because while we're watching them, each person do what they do, what happens is we get intel, what we call intel, on who's doing what. So all of those people who I just told you, the person who dug the hole, laid the wire, put down put down the device, the explosives and all that stuff, well, we monitor them all the way from the time they got there to the time they went to whatever village they went into, to whatever house they went into. And what would happen is we would raid the village and we would pull every single last person out of their homes and we would interrogate them and send them to Guantanamo Bay or whatever detention facility is in the area. Do you get what I'm saying? Is it coming to you? So covertly, I'm telling you how I learned in the military to investigate things. We never interrupted what they were doing because it will stop them from doing what they were doing. Are you getting what I'm saying? You understanding? Is it ringing a bell to you? That's what I'm telling you covertly. Here's the overt message. Back in 2003, my mother wrote my chain of command. This is before I went to Iraq. And she explained to my chain of command that we were hella rich. She explained to them that we were Seminole Indians. She also explained to them that Broward County in the state of Florida was trying to kill my family for my grandmother's assets. She explained this to my military commanders in detail. The reason why I know this, two ways that I know this. My mother told me, one of my commanders told me, and I saw the letters from my mother and my commander back when I first came home after my mother passed away. So I had this information for quite some time. When my mother told my commander those things, they didn't say anything. They just trained me in a way that I can monitor everything that's going on. Get what I'm saying? Is it coming to you? So now, with that being said, with you knowing that my mother told my command, my chain of command back in 2003, what the state of Florida was trying to do with my grandmother's assets, and you know that I know this knowledge, right? Look at everything that has happened, right? Everything that has happened to me, everything. Me going to jail, me being Baker acted, the probate case, the county Robert Keir, our county property appraiser, the judges, the police, the lawyers, all this, right? Remember what I just told you? Remember what I just explained to you covertly, right? Remember what I just explained to you covertly, how we watch people do things. We watch them do everything that they're gonna do. And when it's all said and done, we go in and we swoop in and we take them. Now, what I'm telling you is the truth. I'm not lying to you. I'm not telling you a bitter word of lie from my mouth to this post. You understand, right? I've literally been trained to investigate. I've literally been trained to watch people do things. Now, I say that because the people who I'm investigating is the county property appraiser's office, the probate judges, lawyers, and all those people. Now imagine this. Just imagine this. I'm not even going to say imagine this. Think about this, because this is reality. Think about, I'm sitting up here watching them break every law that there is to break. And the reason why they're breaking every law is because they don't think that anybody's watching them. The same thing what we used to do in Iraq, when we used to watch them set them IEDs, they used to set them because they didn't think anybody was watching them. They didn't think nobody was watching them. They just thought that they had free reign to do what they wanted to do. And we gave them that free reign. We watched them and we let them set them IEDs up. And then we took them in. What do you think is about to happen to Marty Kier, the Broward Property Appraiser's Office, and everybody is involved, to include the probate judges and the lawyers who are involved? What do you think is about to happen to them? Yeah, they about to get the business. They about to get the business. That's why do you think I keep saying I'm not going to do anything about any of this? Because they about to get the business. They don't see it coming, but they about to get the business. They about to get dealt with. They about to go to prison. And not the United States prison either. You got to remember something. I am a soldier. The war that I've been fighting has been the global war on terrorism. The global war on terrorism. Don't forget that. Don't forget that at all.